Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel for a brand new video. We are back in Sunset Valley and I am renovating Urban Sprawl, which I am so excited to finally bring out to the channel because out of the two renovations that I've done thus far in Sunset Valley, this one has got to be my favorite, and it changes not drastically because I don't change the footprint that much. The only thing that I've really done to change the footprint is extend the hallway because a 2 wide tile hallway doesn't make sense to me. Although the other big change that I made to this lot is that I added a basement. So the stairs going down to the basement kind of do go into the hallway, which takes it back to a 2 wide tile hallway. So what I just said is basically redundant, but it works. So let me read you the description of Urban Sprawl. It says, long and low, this suburban ranch includes a 2-car garage, which is kind of false advertising because it's a carport, not a garage. Shady front and back porches, again, false advertising because there's no covering over the original back porch, although I do put a massive covering in the back, which I will be working on shortly. You'll see that. And a large open yard. So that portion is true. There is a large open yard, but I close it off. So it has changed a little bit from its original layout. But like I said, the footprint is very much similar, and you'll see that from the overheads that it hasn't changed too much. So we are in the backyard right now, and I'm covering the porch, making it a shady back porch, which is what it said. So, oh, and here's the other big change that I did. I am working on the basement. So I did a little bit of research on ranch homes before I did this renovation, and a lot of ranch homes do have basements. So I wanted to include that, and you can access said basement not only from the inside of the house, but also from the backyard. And so that's where kind of the main TV area hangout space is, downstairs. And upstairs I've made where the original TV room was, or where the original living room was. I made that into kind of just a sitting room with a fireplace. And then I'm doing a little bit of constrained floor elevation, a little bit of CFE here to make these kind of like, I don't know what they're called. They're like, they cover the basement covers. What? And of course they're not functional, but I think they look pretty realistic. You'll see once I get them all angled with CFE what I'm talking about, and maybe you guys can tell me down below in the comments what they're actually called because I don't know what they're called. So what else can I say about this house other than I love it? Ooh. It is for 2 roommates. That's what I had in mind when I was renovating this. So I made it for a musician and also an artiste. And I thought those were 2 types of Sims that would live very well together and throw some great parties in the backyard, because I feel like the backyard is now a place where you're gonna want to hang out and chill and things like that. I think Jamie Jolina's house is to the left as I'm looking at my screen now, and I'm pretty sure that she's a party animal, but she would be at Urban Sprawl having or coming to parties because her house is not a patch on this anymore. So another big change that, not a big change, but another change that I did is you will have just seen that I moved the front door. Oh my God, brain engage, work. And I put it to the front of the house instead of the side of the house. And then we're just working on the backyard, and I'm going to put in a pool. However, this pool doesn't stay on this side of the backyard. I move it to the other side because it was looking a little bit cramped on this side. And how I originally had the fencing done from the front, it looked really awkward and odd, so I ended up moving the pool all the way up to the other side of the yard, and the balance is a lot better. But I don't normally do odd shaped pools, so that was a little bit different for me. But you can see that the backyard is taking shape. You'll get sneak peeks of it throughout the renovation, but this is basically all you're gonna see of it because it took me ages to do, which is not surprising. It takes me ages to do anything and everything when it comes to building and decorating The Sims. And you can also see out in the backyard to your right at the minute, I've saved the fridge, which I may change it in the end, but I've saved the fridge, the stove, and the sofa, and maybe a couple other things from the original house. And like I said, in my renovation of Mosquito Cove, that's what I want to try to do for these renovations moving forward, is take things from the original house just so I don't have to rebuy them and waste money, because it just seems a shame and a waste. But I am putting in a chimney because I do have a fireplace upstairs, and now we are on to the recoloring of the exterior, which this renovation went through so many different phases. Originally it was a mid-century modern. I completely changed the roof line and I made it a mid-century modern baby blue house with orange accents, and I think that was because I had just come off of doing the collab that I did with Plum Bob 95, where I built a mid-century modern home in Lucky Palms. So I think that I very much had that on the brain. But then I came back to this several times, as I do whenever I'm building or renovating. I never do it in one sitting because I'm just too much of a slow sloth. So yes, it is still a ranch house, which I love, but it's a modernized ranch house, which I think is pretty cool. So you can see, like I mentioned earlier, that I have moved the front door because originally it was going into that square bit that's at the front, and it just seemed kind of dead space to me. So I've turned that little square bit into a teeny tiny little office with a computer and a desk in there. And then I've also included a second entrance, which goes into the hallway where you can easily access the basement, which I love. I wanted to keep some of the orange accents because, as I said in another video, I am really into orange and blues at the moment. So there is a lot of orange accents, there's blue accents, there's of course green accents, there may be even pops of yellow. I'm going back to my origins where I'm all about the mustard yellow and the olive green and just really fall colors, which is perfecto because we are headed into fall and I feel like we're headed into storm season. So on Monday just gone, it is Tuesday now. Is it Tuesday? So yesterday or the day before yesterday, I think Sunday going into Monday, we had a massive storm. There was thundering, there was lightning, there was heavy rain, and I was so comfy cozy in my bed and I just loved it. The lightning lit up the room and the thunder shook the house, and oh, I was in heaven. I was just so very happy, and I'm in the fall mood. If I drank pumpkin spice lattes, I'd be ready for a pumpkin spice latte. And I just, hocus pocus, bring me all those fall vibes. I've put out my fall pillows, I've got a fall sign, I've got my fall candle out, and I'm just ready. And oh, I want to say thank you to those of you who responded in my last video about which Halloween films that you watch. And somebody reminded me in the comments about The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, not the one with Johnny Depp, but the cartoon with Ichabod Crane, and he's got this massive Adam's apple. That's all I remember about it, but I'm gonna have to add that to my repertoire for what I'm going to watch this Halloween season, because I flipping loved that cartoon as a child. It's just so good. It's a short little cartoon of Sleepy Hollow, but it is just so good. And then somebody else mentioned Lost Boys, which is a classic. It's a brilliant film. And then somebody else mentioned The Corpse Bride, which I have actually never ever seen. So I'm going to give that a go and try and watch that because I do love Tim Burton. I think he is an absolute genius. Sure, we have made our way into the inside of the home, and I've moved the kitchen from where it was in the center of the house. It didn't really make sense for me to put it there. That's my own personal preference. I've seen people do renovations of Urban Sprawl where they've kept the kitchen where it was and it looked brilliant, but I just wanted to make a galley kitchen, have the dining table connected to the back of it like a little bit of an island, but this is what I went with. And then off to the left, as I'm looking at my screen now, you've got the small little office, which is teeny tiny. So I think the only thing that I actually ended up keeping from the original home is the fridge and that 3-seater sofa that you can see at the bottom of the screen right now. But look, there's a sneak peek of the outside to your right now. So outside, I've got a hot tub, I've got a pool. There are various forms of musical things like a stereo, and there's speakers outside, pizza oven, barbecue, some places to sit. There's a horseshoe court. So I feel like you could have some really cool parties outside. And there's also a coffee machine, which I think is essential if you're going to be partying. You need coffee to keep you up throughout the entire night. Speaking of coffee, no, this is not another I almost overdosed story. However, on Sunday, I went and had brunch with one of my best friends that I haven't seen in 3 years. And we went and just caught up in a coffee shop, and I wasn't close to the point of overdosing, which is great news. And then we went and had the most beautiful brunch, had eggs Benedict. Oh, it's so good. I feel like with my breakfast, like I'm usually not a breakfast person, but with my breakfast, I can be like sophisticated AF, but then I can also be really childlike. So I can go from eggs Benedict, yum, to Captain Crunch with berries, and I could like survive on Captain Crunch with berries. I love it. Even though it cuts up the roof of your mouth, there's just something so pleasurable about it. But like I said, it was so nice to see my best friend. So she's American like I am, and the way we met is actually really strange, and like it's a small world type of meeting. So we originally met, she walked into where I worked. I used to work in recruitment, and she was looking for a job, and we got to talking, and we figured out that we had actually interacted, or I had tried to interact with her before online, and she blanked me, which is very rude. But so she's American, she's married to an Englishman, and I don't know if I've ever talked about how I actually came to the UK, but I came to the UK on a spousal visa originally. And I used to go on this website called ukyankee.com, which is a great website for expats. And it was very helpful when I was going through the visa process and trying to get all my documents together. I spent so many hours on there. So I actually messaged who is now my best friend on that platform. And like I said, she just completely ignored me. And it wasn't like until 2 years later when I actually moved here that it was a chance encounter that she walked into where I worked, and we figured out that we were both part of that website. And I tried to speak to her, and she was probably like, who is this weirdo? But yeah, it was so nice to catch up with her because her and her husband actually moved back to the States in 2014, I think she said. So since 2014, they have visited a couple times. So this is the first time that I've seen her in 3 years. And it was just, I don't know, there's something just so lovely about sitting in a coffee shop. We were in there for probably 2-3 hours, just catching up on how life has been, what's been going on. And it was just, I don't know, it was heartwarming. I actually cried when I saw her, and I'm not a crier. I don't know what came over me. Maybe it was the 3 coffees I had previous to her showing up, and it brought out some emotions in me. But it was just, I don't know, it was just so lovely to see her. So yeah, and then we went and had the best brunch in the world. In fact, if I can find a picture of my brunch, because yes, I am one of those people that takes pictures of my food, I'll pop it on screen and I will make you guys salivate because, oh my God, it is so good. Anywho, you can see to the left just a little sneak peeky of the pool, which I've actually made it kind of like a natural pool, so it looks like a pond. Now, I don't know, like thinking back on this, I don't know why you'd want to swim in something that looks like a pond, but I wanted it to be sort of kind of like natural hot springs. That's kind of look I was going for. But, you know, feel free to make it look like a regular pool if you download this, because yeah, that's not really realistic to have like flowers and plants in a pool unless you're going for a natural hot springs, which is kind of what I was going for. I don't know. You'll see in the pictures, in the screenshots, and if you decide to download it, you can decide what to do with it. But we're in the artist room, and I'm just laying down some basics, and then I'm gonna come back to it and kind of decorate it a little bit more fully, because now we have moved on to the musician's room, and these rooms are the same size, so your simmies won't be fighting over the bigger room. They both got double beds. They've both got things that I think pertain to what I had in mind for them. So in this bedroom, you will find a guitar and some records and kind of an old record player, not a record player, but an old kind of stereo. And I kind of wanted to make it a little bit grunge and retro. And I think I achieved it. I don't know. It doesn't matter if I achieved it because I love it. I think it's great. So yeah, I use this really old stereo from Supernatural. There's actually quite a lot of good items in Supernatural. I don't like to play with Supernaturals, although saying that, one of the last families that I played like legacy style back in 2012 was a vampire family in Starlight Shores. So, you know, that kind of is false that I don't like Supernaturals, but nowadays I don't think I would ever really play with Supernaturals because they're just not really my jam. I'm more of a, when I do play nowadays, well, nowadays I don't really play, but when I do play, I would be more of a realistic player. And I am thinking of possibly starting a legacy on Tumblr, but we'll see how that goes, because the LPs that I used to have on my channel, I never ever finished them. Although maybe I'll do an update video on how Frankie's doing and how Theo is doing in Twinbrook. And I really do need to finish Theo's townhouses. So that's something that is on my list to do. So I did put laundry in here. This was an afterthought, but I just thought there's a space here that would be good for a laundry area. So I have snuck that in there. And then I've also put a little pantry. Now, laundry to me in The Sims 3 is not really realistic because you have to have hampers everywhere that your sim would change, which is really annoying. So laundry is quite annoying in The Sims 3. So I completely understand if you want to remove that from this house, because I didn't put a laundry basket outside by the hot tub or by the pool because that's just ridiculous. Like, who does that? So if you want to get rid of laundry on the lot, you can definitely do that. Feel free to chop and change as you wish. But here's the kitchen. We have recolored it, and I've gone for sort of a two-tone vibe. So we've got the wood, and then we've also got really dark blue cabinets with what would I call those? Concrete countertops. But yes, this is the kitchen area, the dining area, and then also you've got the nectar racks, which are completely full, which means you can tell that my tester sims have been on the lot, because like I said, the nectar rack is full. And then downstairs, I don't know if you peeped it, but there's some artwork, which in my head, I kind of said that the artist sim had done those paintings and that artwork and hung them on the wall. So I did actually use pops of mustard and pops of yellow here. So yes, very much fall vibes. I'm just digging it. I'm just loving it. So what is new with you guys? Let me know down below in the comments. This is going to go up on a Saturday, so tell me about your weekend. Tell me about your Friday. What did you do? Did you relax? Did you stay in? Did you go out? Did you go party? I want to know all down below in the comments. Just let me know how you are, because I always like to know how you guys are doing. So here is the teeny tiny office, and this is originally where the entrance was to the house, but like I said, it just was kind of dead space to me. I've seen people decorate beautiful like hallways that go into the living room, and it looks brilliant, but for me it just didn't make sense in this instance. And the color palette for this particular room is, you can see kind of a dark teal and also black and white, and then the curtains are this like rich green. I was really feeling emerald green, and I think that was because of a conversation that I had with one of my best friends who was decorating her house at the moment, and she was talking about getting an emerald green sofa, but she ended up getting a royal blue velvet sofa, which is absolutely gorgeous. Now, fear not, because that feature wall does not stay like that. So the green walls actually become the feature wall, and I get rid of that horrendous pattern because it was so busy. So I actually continue the gray from the kitchen and the dining room into this little sitting area, the sitting nook, and then the green that's to your left and your right at the moment actually becomes the feature wall where that really gross pattern is. I don't know what I was thinking, but I have incorporated the pattern on the bookshelf, which I think looks nice and it works for the space. What else is going on? I'm trying to figure out what I have been up to. Ooh, not speaking of, because I haven't spoken about this, but I had the nicest burger the other day. I know I'm talking about food a lot, and I may actually pop a picture up of my burger because it was that good. But I had this like crispy chicken burger with creamy Caesar dressing, and the cheese was dripping off, and it had bacon, and it had streaky bacon, which, because I say streaky bacon, because in the UK, if you ask for bacon, it's like this like fatty, massive slab of bacon. It basically looks like ham to me, and I don't like it, so I always have to ask for streaky bacon no matter where I go. And it was delightful. It was so lush. It was so good. Like, I feel like I need to order Uber Eats after I finish this voiceover and get a burger and maybe like a side of eggs Benedict with a dessert of Captain Crunch with berries, which that's actually a pain. I haven't been able to get Captain Crunch with berries for ages because I have to order it off Amazon, and it takes yonks to order and get here because, you know, I don't live in the US and it's not readily accessible, and I just love it so much. I could just eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Does anybody have like that type of food that they could eat 3 times a day and just not get bored? I feel like with food, I go through phases where I'm just like, yeah, I could eat this every single day. I did that with French toast once. I've done it with poached eggs. I just get on these kicks where I'm like, yum, a tuna casserole. I don't know if I've ever spoken about tuna casserole on my channel. I used to talk about it on the forums all the time, and I think it was actually in my bio about how much I love tuna casserole. Like, it was just so, it's so good. Yum, love it, love it. Anyway, we are in the musician's room, and I've gone for a black and gray as the colors, and you can see that I've got a feature wall, which I've continued over by the door, and also there's a strip of black that goes onto the ceiling. It looks really cool, really cozy, and I've done something very similar in my real life bedroom. So yeah, I wanted to replicate that in The Sims. And now we have moved on to the artiste room, and this one goes through a lot of transformations because the artwork that's to your right at the moment, that doesn't stay there. When I was watching the footage back before I started this voiceover, I was like, that is so ugly. I can't believe I've done that. So I actually went back into the game and changed it out and took a different screenshot because I really, really hated that artwork and what I did to it. So that's going to change. So don't be screaming at the screen going, what are you doing? And also the hearts, those go away as well. So this room does not completely change, like the layout doesn't change or anything like that, but some of the choices that I made, I changed them off camera because when I went and took a second look, I was like, oh no honey, this is all wrong. But the colors for this room are green and orange, and I wanted to keep that orange theme coming through because I think this room originally was orange, and then the exterior of the home was also orange. So yeah, I just wanted to stick with that and pay homage to the origins of Urban Sprawl, which, by the way, I haven't even spoken about this, but I bet you guys can guess down below in the comments what I have renamed this. I'll give you 3, 2, 1. That's right. I've called this the Sprawl because I'm so original. It was either the Urban or the Sprawl, and I went for the Sprawl. I don't know. It was a toss-up. And price. So the furnished slot, when you first go into Sunset Valley, Urban Sprawl is $24,000. 273 simoleons. Well, how now, brown cow? I've got my hands on it, and it is no longer that cheap. I think we are in the hundreds of thousands of simoleons, and I'm gonna blame it on the pool and also the fact that I have added a basement to this. So it is really expensive. It's not a starter, unless, you know, you do the free real estate cheat. Otherwise, your Sims are going to have to work up to living in this modernized ranch house. But anywho, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up right here. We've got about 2 minutes till we hit the screenshots. So I'm going to love you and leave you guys with some music to jam out to. Make sure you stick around for the screenshots. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to do all those cool interweb things like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you've got that bell ding dong so you're notified whenever I do upload. But for now, I'm gonna skedaddle. Don't be a plum stranger now, guys.